I just wanted to brief you on some of the national concerns that is also good for you to know. Some of the challenges that the country is facing and which you are also facing, which we need to say, and which I normally say because I speak my mind and I say that as members of parliament we have also let you down in many areas. Yeah, one of the areas that MPs have let you down is on funding of education. I believe that the funding of education in Kenya is not does not support the facilities that are required. The educational function is not properly funded. And I say this because the competition that is sent to your schools is not sufficient. And it does not take into account the regular increase in enrollment in your schools. Each and every year, you have more pupils, more students. So I think as members of parliament, I wanted to highlight that, even to the media, that it is time members of parliament supported the education sector as required. Because even with 670 billion, and a large amount of that money goes to TSC for your salaries, it is not sufficient. So I think with the budget, with a 4 trillion budget, I don't think if we gave you 1 trillion of that budget to support education, the country would really lose. I think the country would do much more. So I want to urge my colleague members of parliament that it is time we enhance our financial support to education sector, because as we all agree, education sector is the most important sector, because this is the development of our community, development of our resources as a country, development of our people. Without people, there is no country. So I want to emphasize that in this forum that members of parliament must work towards increasing funding to education sector. The other issue which we must also address in line with that is overtaxation. You and me know that today teachers don't have a salary. Or is there anybody who has a salary? I even saw that there's a county where all staff are earning a salary of 100 shillings. So overtaxation is one of the issues that's going to affect the education sector, especially the resources in the education sector, because if you are overtaxed, you do not have resources to support your family, you cannot deliver. So members of parliament must in the coming years work towards taming this overtaxation of the employed class. The employed class cannot bear the burden of developing the country. If the country is going to develop, it cannot be done by the people who are employed who are on salary. It must be done by everybody. And I want to ask the government to desist from assuming that if you are employed, then you have excess money. In fact, as an economist, when I was looking at the performance of the economy in the last 2 years, I realized that the economy has not grown, because Kenya economy depends on household consumption. Household consumption is the money that you have in your pocket that you can use to buy items, to buy sugar, to buy food, etc. If you don't have money to buy food, then the household consumption shrinks and the economy cannot grow. So we must allow this economy to grow by providing for employed Kenyans to support household consumption. A country that does not have sufficient exports. You remember when the dollar collapsed, when the Kenyan shilling collapsed against major currencies. The problem was because as a country we do not have exports. We have not worked to ensure that as a country we can export many things and bring in foreign currency. We are relying on service sector. We are relying on people buying things, and the country is importing everything. We are importing, including pencils, we are importing from China. So these are some of the basic fundamentals which we must highlight as a way of addressing and ensuring that the economy of our country is healthy. And lastly, the cost of living. Cost of living is tied to overtaxation. It's also tied to the price of fuel. The price of fuel in Kenya, where it is today, okay, people say it has come down, but it has not come down to the levels that it can support the growth of the economy. The price of fuel today is still not able. If you are in business, you know that the price of fuel will not allow you to make money, to grow your profits. If you cannot grow your profits, you cannot grow the economy. So we want to urge government in this forum that those are fundamental factors that the government needs to address if this economy is to grow, and if it is to grow and to benefit all Kenyans and the stakeholders, fundamentally the education stakeholders. Members of Parliament across the region have invested immensely in the growth of our institutions. Every year, every member of Parliament has faith in the impact of education in our society, and that is why across Nyanza you see beautiful schools conspicuously standing out. However, please take note that the domiciling of junior school in our primary institutions, which I continue to appreciate for many good reasons, including easing parents' burden, I'm aware most of our institutions could be in need of a few more classrooms, or possibly other than facilitates laboratories and workshops to adequately address CBC concerns. Just to let you know, in this financial year, as members of Parliament, we recognized the need for improvement in the infrastructure within the junior secondary school setup, and we made it a policy in Parliament that half of the infrastructural budget for each constituency must go to JS schools. So you will see a lot of those works happening in this financial year. The government has been slow in releasing resources to NGCDFs. I think right now before we close the financial year, we are going to start doing development projects, and junior secondary schools are the largest beneficiaries. Mr. Chairman, I would like to rally myself behind you on the call on teachers' transformational prerequisite to digital learning. It is the only pathway that is clear. We must work on the attitude of teachers to engage in digital teaching and the learning, as this will work to enable learners construct and develop critical thinking, innovativeness and relevance to the current trends, and of course be globally competitive. Teachers need to impart skillful knowledge. In fact, it should be learning by construction, not by reception. Teachers must operate like people that are limitless on resource availability. All learning resources are in the environment and online. Let us be productive, exhaustive enough to make learning child-friendly. Finally, I'm aware of the TSC amendment bills that are currently under public participation. We have had a lot of cries from teachers in my constituency, and I've asked them to identify those clauses that are not palatable with them. And we will definitely consult with our colleagues to ensure that we expand those amendments that are not good for the teaching sector. We have also listened to your professional union bodies in this area, and we assure you that we are going to take note of their concerns. One of the structures that JS developed when this system was brought up, the need for each school to have laboratories. And you know, the way we do our laboratories, each laboratory costs about 4 million shillings, ordinary laboratories. So as Parliament, we tasked Ministry of Education to develop for us a cheaper laboratory model that we could use. You know, we could easily spend little resources and build. And up to now, the ministry has never come back to us. So I'm surprised that SEPU has come up with a laboratory that is going to cost us 200,000 shillings. I think on my part, I want to commit that I can even build even 20 laboratories at once, if this is what can work for us. Because you see, when we failed to build laboratories, it was decided that you would use these laboratories in the secondary schools within your areas, isn't it? Again, transport became a problem, because moving students from this school to the laboratory regularly was almost impossible. So these are some of the gaps that this CBC thing is facing, and I'm grateful that you guys have a solution for it. This is something which I can assure you members of Parliament are going to really be happy about, and I will not waste time to communicate this to my members of Parliament from this region. So be assured that this one I'm going to communicate immediately. We have a regional WhatsApp group for all members of Parliament from this region. So I'm going to communicate this one immediately we finish here. The other concern is to do with buses, which you are recommending that we could have one bus for 20 schools. Again, this I think is also workable. Because for me, when I became member of parliament, I was buying buses per ward. There are some wards that did not have buses. So I said, let me begin by buying one bus per ward. Then now we are going to move per zone and per location. So I think this is really doable, because if we can buy one bus per ward, some wards are about 15 schools. So this is workable. You know that the government is promoting tree planting in schools. What the government is doing is the government is using NGCDF. Because one of the things we did this year was to amend NGCDF Act to provide for two things. To raise resources that we used to allocate for tree planting. We did that, and now we are supposed to allocate about 5% of our NGCDF to tree planting. Again, we amended the NGCDF Act to provide that in each ward, a member of parliament must build a digital hub. So there's digital hub and there's planting of trees. These are already things in our law, and they are falling within the NGCDF Act under the stewardship of members of parliament. So these are things that I want to assure you that members are going to do. And of course, when we plant trees, we plant them in your schools. So these are programs that we are going to do. We are going to, like for myself, I will give you the money. I will give the heads the money, and you plant the trees for me, and I will just come and check. I will not get involved in procurement of trees. Once I give you your $500,000, please plant trees, amount of trees, and then I will come and check. I believe that's what other members of parliament are also going to do through their allocations. The other issue which you have raised is fencing of schools. This is true. Before I came here, I was commissioning a development program in one of the schools, and one of the issues which the community raised with me was that the school needs to be fenced and secured with a proper gate. This is very good, first of all, for security. Security of the resources in the school, but also security of the community and the students. So this is something which already I know a number of MPs are doing. There's a member of parliament who told me that when he was elected, the first project he did was to fence all schools in his constituency. He didn't build any classroom. He just went fencing everything. So I think if this is a concern from Nyanza capture team, I think this is one of the most serious stakeholder engagement that we could have. So I think we are going to ensure that we communicate this one also to teachers. I therefore would like to take this singular honor to declare this 20th Capture Nyanza Regional Conference officially closed.
It works in our schools. But now the curriculum demands certain things. And the current government has a policy of bottom up. And that is why we invited you. So as from today, we want the things that may be wondering. The junior school is domiciled in primary. Nyanza, Nyamira, Kisii, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu, Siaya, they are all here. In Kenya has been a trend that when teachers say we want this, they are told you are many. We are requesting that let not this one again start happening when we now request. A zone consists of 15 to 30 schools. That is the largest. But I don't think there is any zone now with 30 schools. That is a sub-county. We want it to be in uniform. That all our schools receive a mobile laboratory required. And I'm happy, if you look at these flags, you will see SEPU here, school equipment. They have come up. Biology, mathematics, Which one have I left out? It is not easy. It is not easy. We must nurture
the community. Marka tuda en jatelo ni wiwi go tangen gin gi bende gin pipeline gin kech kayo ka gibire school mana kuda. Special thanks to our MP kumiwa klasne omiyo wan gi facelift ma school marario congestion ego ka emosebit ka golo the best. Last year nje wagolo ja 391 ya 390 ya 387. We are happy nuko mojogo ngata chia St. Joseph Kitale kendo somo kuro under full scholarship. Gonganya kwa pam. Anigi geno ni kata next year kwa chaka watimu penji ma the other year kwa timu 8
to send you. As heads of Nyanza, we have talked. And first and the best curriculum is a curriculum that wants all the stakeholders.
Mano